Beware if you are living in community that doesn't have a person that will call you an idiot when you're acting like an idiot. Yeah, what a way to start off the week, right? No, I mean, just this principle was drilled into my head this morning as I'm reading Exodus chapter 18. That my life is more rich. My life is more on purpose for the Lord. My life will produce more fruit if I am not just surrounded by people that will pat me on the back, but if I'm also surrounded by people that will tell me when I am wrong, that are not impressed by my name, that are not impressed by the things that I do, but are constantly pushing me to press deeper into the Lord. Exodus chapter 18. Moses has already led the nation of Israel out of bondage with Egypt. He's already been traversing through the wilderness when his father-in-law, Jethro, who happens also to be a priest of Midian, sends word to Moses that he is coming along with Moses' wife and 2 children. Moses immediately was excited and brings him close. And in verse 8 it says, "And Moses told his father-in-law about everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and about all the hardships they had met along the way, and how the Lord had saved them." I mean, these are incredible accounts. Moses telling about the 10 plagues. Moses telling about the Red Sea. Moses telling about the initial wanderings in the wilderness. God moving magnificently. So magnificently, it's something that is unparalleled in its compact nature of the movement of God in such a visible way at this point in the Old Testament. Jethro hears all of this. In verse 9 it says, "He was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel in rescuing them from the hand of the Egyptians. He said, 'Praise be to the Lord, who rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and of Pharaoh, and who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who treated Israel arrogantly.'" Here's why I read you that whole passage, because actually I want to get us down to a little further in the passage. This is the first point to be taken. Moses tells the entire Exodus account, and Jethro heard all of it. Now I know that that's like a simple okay, you just have to hang on to that. Jethro heard every word, but it doesn't deter him from challenging Moses when Moses is acting foolishly. Verse 13, "The next day Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people, and they stood around him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law, Jethro, saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, 'What is this you're doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, while all these people stand around you from morning till evening?' Moses answered him, because the people come to me to seek God's will. Whenever they have a dispute, it is brought to me, and I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decrees and instructions." Moses' father-in-law replied, "What you're doing is not good." Jethro looks at Moses and says, "You're acting like an idiot. That's not helpful. What you're doing, while it's even done out of a good heart, it's actually not helpful." He goes on and says in verse 18, "You and these people who come out to you will only wear yourselves out. You see why it's foolish? You're only going to wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone." You see, there's 2 movements so far that I find quite interesting. First movement of the text is this. Moses tells Jethro everything that happened in the Exodus, and Jethro didn't miss a word. He saw the power that God was using, was moving through Moses. And yet, Jethro watches Moses functioning foolishly, functioning in such a manner that even though Moses was doing good things, the amount of good things he was doing was going to destroy himself and the others around him. Jethro looks at him and he says, "I'm not going to be intimidated by the great things that God has done. Because if you're acting like an idiot, I'm going to tell you, you're acting like an idiot. That's a powerful move because many of us do not have the courage to do that. Many of us do it through selfish gain. If we challenge authority, it's because we think A, we know better than them, or B, because we just want to be validated by challenging them and hopefully being proven to be right. But Jethro has no guile. As a matter of fact, after Jethro gives this to Moses, he leaves. He goes back to his country, entrusting his son-in-law with the advice that he gave him. Here's the third move, though, that shocks me even more. Verse 24. Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. He chose capable men from all Israel and made them leaders of the people, officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They served as judges for the people at all times. The difficult cases they brought to Moses, but the simple ones, they decided themselves. The thing that really startles me is that Moses listened. Moses listened. My goodness, how tempting it is to think of all the things that you have done to the Lord, done for the Lord. And whenever somebody challenges you, how tempting it is to list all those things as reasons to not reflect on what they have said, to not respond to the challenge they've given you, and instead move forward ignoring the voice of the prophet. The prophet in your midst that loves you so much that they're willing to fight you for you. This week, I'm not giving you permission to go find a leader and to tell them they're an idiot. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm asking for you to reflect is this. Do you have space for a Jethro in your life? Do you have space for someone to come up to you and say, hey, Shane, you're out of line. Hey, Shane, I saw the way you handled your kids, and that's not becoming of a servant of the Lord. Hey, Shane, I know that you are filling your schedule with so many good things, but it's too much. You're hurting yourself and others. Hey, Shane, quit being an idiot. I know that the way I'm phrasing that comes across harsh, but here's the harsh reality. If you do not have room for the prophetic voices in your life, don't be surprised when you hurt yourself and a lot of other people around you. I love you guys. Have a good week.